remainders and when not. Okay. And we probably haven't done remainders yet, have we? I don't think so. But if you're doing, let's do a problem here. If you have a problem that is like 16 divided by 3, I guess we should talk about the algorithm, which is the way that you do the problem for division. I suppose there's the easy way and the hard way to do this. We can do if you're taking 16 and putting it into 3 groups, I guess you could do this. I'm going to make my groups of 3. You know, if you had 16 cookies and 3 friends, here's probably what you would do. Let's say your 3 friends are all squares. You would take a cookie and do this. 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you. Well, there's 3 of them, right? 1 for you, 1 for 1, that's 6 of them. 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you, that's 9 of them. 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you. How many is that? 12. 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you. There's 15. And don't have enough cookies for everybody to get another one, so you're going to have a remainder, and we just put the letter R, remainder of 1. Everybody gets 5, and there is a remainder of 1 cookie. Okay? Got that? And what happens to that 1 cookie? Well, for right now, it just sits out there, and maybe you give it to somebody else at some other time, but it's not fair not to give somebody the 6th cookie or whatever. When we do a division problem, rather than doing all this and putting 3 groups and doing all that, because that gets tough when the numbers get really big, we have the algorithm, which is DMSB. What is it? Did mother see Bob? I don't know, whatever it is. Which is divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. And you don't have to do, it'll be really easy for what you're doing for tomorrow, but I just want to make you aware of that. You know, the first step you do is you say, 3, how many times can 3 go into 16? That's the division part of it. Or 3 times what number is close to 16, and that's where the 5 comes from, right? Once I finish my dividing part, I multiply those 2 numbers together. What is 3 times 5? 15. I put that under there. That's my multiply. I put my subtraction sign there. 16 minus 15 is 1. And then we're not going to do this, but the last thing, if there was another number down there, we'd bring it down, but we don't have that. And this 1 is what's left over, and that's where our remainder comes from. And I'm sure you've done this before, so it's not earth-shaking.
Yeah.
What? You did who?
Goes into
Yeah.
up
on top, multiply, subtract. If you want to do gums, I can do that. Let's do another one. What if it was 35 divided by 6? So in your gums, how many times does 6 goes into 35? What's the most times? And here's where really you got to know your multiplication tables. If you don't, this is going to take you a lot of time. Jack, it goes
5.
Okay, 5 times. Okay, so then I multiply that and I get 30. I subtract. And then what comes? Multiply.
Multiply, subtract.
Where's the bring down part though?
Redo it.
Okay, now, so here, this 5 is my leftover, so it's my remainder, so I just put my little R and 5 up there. Now please make sure a couple things don't happen here. This remainder, because it's left over like this over here, it can never be bigger than your divisor. I couldn't, if I'm dividing by 6, I can never get a remainder of 7, because in the world of cookies, if I had 7 cookies left over among 6 friends, I could still give them a whole other cookie. Okay, so the remainder has to be smaller than whatever you're dividing it. If it isn't, then this number needs a change, and I'd have to make that a 6, 1 higher or something. Okay? Got that? And I think you've done this before, so we're not going to beat that. But here's what you have to understand. Sometimes you don't use remainders. There are things that you cannot take remainders of. Okay? And it's specifically when you're talking about story problems is when you have to watch out for this. Okay? You can't have, you know, if I take, well, if I give you this question, let's say, how many of you are there?
15, but today 14.
Let's say there's 15 fifth graders, 15 kids, and a car can only take 4 people. A car holds 4 people. How many cars do I need? Well, I'm taking 15 and I want to group them into groups of 4. I'm looking for a place to do this. If I take 15 and divide it into groups of 4, if I do that problem out, gums, 4 goes into 15 how many times? 3 times, right? And I get 12, and I have a remainder of 3. There is no such thing as remainder 3 cars. What is the remainder of a 3 car? It doesn't exist, there's no such thing. So if this was a real world problem, and I said, well, how many cars do we need to take all the 5th graders? 3 is not enough.
4.
You're going to have to say, yeah, if it's a story problem that involves cars, you can't have a remainder of a car, so you got to say, well, I need 4 cars. Okay? So when you're reading your problem there, kids, you need to make sure that your remainder makes sense. You can have remainders when it's just numbers and we're doing this like this, but if it's something that there's no such thing as a remainder of, you can't have a remainder, you can't have a remainder of a gallon of milk, you can't have a remainder of a can of paint. Okay, so you're going to need to do that extra thing. Let's look at a problem maybe they give you. At an amusement park, 16 people are waiting in a line. 16 people are waiting. What's a big ride at the, whatever?
6 Flags to Goliath.
Okay, 16 people are waiting for Goliath. Okay, and the Goliath, each car of Goliath, every car holds 6 people. How many cars are you going to need? How many cars? Well, you're taking 16 and breaking it into groups of 6, so it's a division problem. How many times does 6 go into 16? Goes into 2 times, and then there's a remainder of 4, but you can't have a remainder 4 of a car on Goliath. Okay? You know, you're going to have to go to, you're going to need 3 cars. Now, they won't all be evenly divided on those 3 cars, okay, but you're going to need the 3 cars. You know, you'll have 6 on this one and 6 on this one and only 4 on the last one. Or if you were trying to divide it up as evenly as possible, what would you do? Probably take one guy here and put one guy there. It'd be 6, 5, and 5, but we're not talking about that. So make sure, as you do those division problems, make sure that you check to see if you can actually have a remainder for that. And then they ask you a question about, how do you know if 2 goes into a number? Anybody? If I have this number here, 18, does 2 go into 18?
Yes.
How do I know?
Because they're both number.
Yeah, just like when we talk about halves. 2 goes into 18, it doesn't go into 19, and it does go into 20. Half of that, half of that. So just make sure they kind of throw that at you. I don't want this one, sorry. Where did that go? No, I wanted this one.